More than $800 billion in federal stimulus funds have been paid out since 2009. So where did all the money go?
Well, more than $500,000 were spent installing electric car charging stations across the state of Ohio, and that includes us here in the Miami Valley. But Tuna's Investigates found they are largely going unused at this point. Holly Samuels digging deeper to track your tax dollars.
After all that money was spent, you might be asking, was it worth it? Wait until you see what 2 News Investigates learned about one of the projects that spent taxpayer money all across the Miami Valley. They're stationed along city streets, in parking lots, and in the city of Dayton's parking garage downtown. But we found most people don't even know they exist, even people we found just around the corner from a downtown Tip City electric vehicle or EV charging station. Did you know that there are charging stations for electric vehicles in Tip City?
I didn't know they were in Tip City, but I do know they're having.
No, I just parked by something. I didn't know what it was.
No, I did not.
Do you know of anyone who has an electric vehicle?
Not in Tip City, no.
I looked through federal stimulus records that show Clean Fuels Ohio spent $500,000 taxpayer dollars to install EV charging stations across Ohio. More than $23,000 were funneled into the Miami Valley for 7 stations, 3 in Tip City, 2 in Centerville, and 2 in Dayton. But numbers we obtained from stations in Tip City and Centerville show they're being used an average of once or twice a week. This station in Tip City was used once in the month of January. And as our camera watched this station in Centerville for 5 hours Friday, no one stopped for a charge. So we went to Columbus to ask Clean Fuels Ohio if taxpayer money was well spent.
We felt that there was a need to get stations installed in Ohio. At the time, there were very few stations.
It looks like they're being used on average a couple times a week. Does that tell you that the need was great?
I think the need was great, yes, because we needed to have that public infrastructure in the public eye so that those drivers could see that it's out there for them. Once they see that it's out there, that promotes adoption.
Maeve says Ohio is behind neighboring states when it comes to public charging stations. Right now, Michigan has 660, Indiana has 175, and Ohio has 171. Is it a race?
It is important for Ohio to stay competitive in the EV industry. We rank number 3 in the automotive supply industry. It's important that we keep or improve that ranking.
We wanted to know how quickly Ohio drivers are accepting the technology and how many might need to plug into one of these stations. 2 News Investigates found fewer than 3,000 plug-in cars are registered in Ohio. They make up less than 0.1% of all cars registered in the state. Why not wait until we really needed these stations?
Well, I think that puts Ohio further behind in terms of promoting EV adoption, having infrastructure available for residents, also attracting residents and citizens to move to Ohio.
Taxpayers continue to pay for these stations every day. For example, if you live in Tip City and get an electric bill, Tip City Electric absorbs the cost of the electricity supplied to the stations, so it's essentially paid for by its customers. Dayton's electricity costs are paid with the fees all drivers pay to park in the garage. Centerville stations charge 50 cents an hour to cover some expenses, but the electricity is paid for with taxpayer dollars. For an interactive map showing each of the stations paid for in the Miami Valley and their cost, go to WDTN.com.